Let's move on. All right. So I was watching another podcast. I just be watching podcasts, man. And yeah, so if you guys remember 2016? There was this rapper who flooded the nation, flooded the whole world with two words. And he repeated it the whole time. Mara, that shit was a pop. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Like looking back at it now, if Lil Pump had released Gucci Gang right now, I don't think that shit would have been a hit, man. I don't think that shit would have been a bop. 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, that was a different time for hip hop. Like niggas just came out with shit in that time, bro. And but it was a bop in that time. It was like dope. The shit was fire. Shit was like crazy. But like the trajectory of hip hop, I won't lie, hip hop has gotten so much better than from like when I was in like high school, when I was in like primary. It's like gotten so much better. The rappers have gotten better. Obviously, there's some decline, but like niggas are actually back to like rapping, and it's like before it just used to be some weird shit, man. Like honestly. But anyway, Lil Pump, he was on a podcast. Is Jake Paul's podcast. You guys know Jake Paul. I made a video about Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson. Go check it out. It's on the channel. So yeah, he's a guest on Jake Paul's podcast, and he speaks about one of the greatest finesses ever. He speaks about how he got out of his record label deal with Warner Bros. And how he managed to get like fucking 20 M's out of that shit. Well, 10 M's, I think. And yeah, it's quite interesting. So we're going to watch the video of him explaining how he got out the deal. And then, because he doesn't explain it too well, he's Lil Pump. So, and then we're going to read an article that will explain it better with the proper legalese and all that. So yeah, so let's watch the interview. Okay. So yeah, so it's Jake Paul's podcast. It's called BS with Jake Paul. You guys go check it out. It's pretty dope. And yeah, he's got Lil Pump, and he asks him how he got out that deal.
He did some crazy shit to get out his deal.
What did he do?
All right, guys. All right, look. I'm gonna break it down to you. This is the first time I ever say this. All right, look. So I was 17. I had a boss, D-Rose, Flex Like Ooh, and then Gucci Gang. Once Gucci Gang popped off, I already signed with them at first for like the 300 bands, whatever, boom. And then after
So he's had some hit songs, got 5 hit songs before he signed. And then he signed, when he says them, he's talking about Warner Bros. He was signed to Warner Bros. So he signed for 300,000 as an advance. And then he goes on to say,
papers are supposed to go through court. And if they don't go through court,
notary.
Basically, I could renew my deal. And since I had Gucci Gang out, I was like, you know what? I'm hopping out. So like once I hopped out of the deal, they looked dumb as hell. They were like, what the fuck? Like, you can't do this. You're like, no, here, I'll offer you 10 M's. I'm like, oh yeah, I bet. Boom. So like, I like basically hopped out of the deal because the fucking paper didn't go to court.
So then you got 10 million because of that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But then did they put those papers through court after that?
okay, so that's how he explains it. So we're going to read an article. The article breaks it down, how he got out of it properly, so we can understand. Because I understood what he said, but he left out the crucial part that ties everything together. Okay, here's the article. So yeah, the article says it's by Juris Magazine. It's like an upload type database type thing. Anyway, the title is Warner Bros. Records re-signs Lil Pump after costly contract error. So this was in 2018. And then it goes on to say, whether or not you'll admit that you're responsible for one of the 830 million YouTube views of Florida rapper Lil Pump's 2017 hit video Gucci Gang, you're probably aware of the face-tatted 18-year-old that has taken over the mainstream music industry. Last January, Lil Pump, whose real name is Gaz Garcia, voided his contract with Warner Bros. Records on grounds that he had entered the contract as a minor, and he wasn't the first to explore this potentially lucrative legal loophole. So then, goes on to say, in accordance with common law in California, a contract of a minor may be disaffirmed by the minor before majority or within a reasonable time afterward, unless the minor is emancipated or the contract is for necessaries. However, according to that section, it prohibits the disaffirmation of a contract by a minor employee if the contract has been approved by the court. Okay, so that's pretty much what he was trying to say. So he was trying to say that because you, at the time when he signed, he was 17, I think he was 16, 17, he signed the contract, and obviously he was a minor. So now when you're doing this type of contract, essentially it's an employment contract. So it has to be according to that law in California. So the contract has to be affirmed by a court. So essentially you got to get a certificate for that contract to show that even though he is a minor, the contract is still valid because you got it affirmed by the court. So Warner Bros. Failed to have it, they failed to have it affirmed by the court. So essentially he could have left the contract or attempted to leave the contract because the contract was void anyway. So if it wasn't affirmed, it's pretty much void. You can argue grounds that you don't have to do the obligations because the contract is void. So he was planning to leave. Mind you, I'm sure he couldn't leave because the contract probably had it for a certain time, but that was one of his obligations. But he could leave because the contract was void. The contract was void because the court, they didn't get it affirmed by the court. And so when he attempted to leave, then obviously the record label was like, no, you can't leave, because if you leave, then you're going to leave with all your masters and all of that. Mind, because since the contract is void, essentially he still has his masters, he still has the rights to all his music, all the publishing, even though he signed it, but he was a minor and they didn't affirm the contract. So he wanted to leave with all of that. Then the label said, no, you can't leave. Don't leave with all your masters. Don't leave with all your hit songs. Please, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. And so they offered him $10 million, and then he re-signed with them. And then obviously this time, I'm sure they had it affirmed. Well, by that time it was major, so I guess they didn't have to have it. Yeah. So then it goes on to say, when Warner Bros. Records first signed 16-year-old Gazzy Garcia in 2017 with a $350,000 advance, they made a costly mistake in neglecting to receive a certification from the court prior to entering into contract with the young artist. So his attorney notified Warner Bros. That the contract is void. And then Lil Pump began to look for other deals with Gucci Mane and DJ Khaled. So then Warner Bros. Then announced that they had re-signed Lil Pump, agreeing to an estimated between 8 to 12 million advance and a favorable percentage on royalties. So definitely, he's probably got a better split deal. I'm sure the initial contract was like, here's 10%, here's 5%. Now, since you must remember, he's leaving with the masters. He's leaving with literally the gold. He's leaving with the Gucci Gang. You know what I mean? Don't take the Gucci Gang. That's the label. They don't like, no, you can't take the Gucci Gang. So, mind you, that shit was big, man. You saw the article. The article said it had 813 million YouTube views. Bro, that is huge. That is huge. It was a big ass song. Gucci Gang was a big, major big song. You know what I mean? So definitely the label's gonna do anything to fucking imagine if they were willing to offer him 10 million, you know that they were gonna be able to recoup fucking 30, 50, 40, 100 times that. You know what I mean? So just interesting finesse, and it's interesting that it happens to someone like Lil Pump, you know, who people will think, here's this fucking rapper with face tats, you know, leaned up, drugged up, saying the same shit, doesn't rap, but you just see how fucking life can kind of just, you know, life doesn't choose who it favors, because, you know, someone like Lil Pump should be the example of like that rapper that didn't take it seriously and now, you know, he's struggling, doesn't have money because people know this. But actually, it's the opposite. Like, the nigga is in a great deal. He's got good royalties. He's got platinum songs, you know, and still young. Obviously, he doesn't have that much attention, but it just goes to show you that it's not always the artist that you think that they prim and proper that make it into a lot of these different artists. They really be making it. But yeah, that's kind of just the story I wanted to share about Lil Pump and how he got out his deal. Dope finesse. I'm like one of hip hop's greatest finesse. And because these labels, man, it's always fuck these labels, bro. These labels got billions and billions, and the artists don't even give shit. So anytime an artist is able to finesse a label, is able to not even finesse, just like get the right deals, get shit, the proper ways. Like it's a win, it's a W for the artist, because I'm always on the artist side, being one myself. But yeah, as usual, thank you guys for watching. I really, 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 really appreciate it, man. We just got to 20 subscribers. I'm famous already. I can't even go outside to the spasm, man. Niggas taking photos like, that's such streams. But yeah, no, I really appreciate each and every one of you watching, subscribing. The views are bumping. Everything's bumping, man. I'm really pushing for you guys. And I appreciate the support always. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. You know what to do. Bow.